hackers earned more than $1 million for 73 zero days at Pwn2Own Ireland. Critical Microsoft WSUS flaw comes under active exploitation. Shutdown sparks 85% increase in US government cyber attacks. And ESET says North Korea ramping up drone IP theft. This is Cybersecurity Today, and I'm your host, David Shipley. Let's get started. Last week, some of the best hackers in the world gathered in Cork, Ireland, for Pwn2Own 2025, one of the few places where breaking things earns applause, not arrests. Over 3 days, researchers uncovered 73 zero-day vulnerabilities and earned just over $1 million in prize money. That's impressive, but here's what's more interesting. Despite all the hype this year about AI supercharging hacking and defense, this year's results look almost identical to last year's. About the same number of vulnerabilities discovered, about the same amount in payouts. It's a fascinating reality check on what AI is and is not changing in cybersecurity right now. Like 2024, this year's contest featured 8 target categories, from smartphones and network appliance devices to routers, cameras, and smart home tech. But organizers added a twist, a new USB-based challenge requiring teams to exploit locked smartphones via physical connection, not just over Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. It's a reminder that physical access still matters, especially as phones and wearables become the keys to digital identity. The summoning team topped the leaderboard with 22 Masters of Pwn points and 187,500. Breaking into the Samsung Galaxy S25, several Synology NAS drives, and a QNAP device. Interrupt Labs earned attention by hacking the Galaxy S25 through an input validation flaw that exposed its camera and location data, proof that small bugs still have big consequences. And in a surprising move, Team Z3 withdrew from a potential $1 million WhatsApp zero-day click exploit payday, opting instead for private disclosure through the Zero Day Initiative and Meta's security team. That's a lot of money to leave on the table, and we may never fully know why. So why didn't AI shift the balance this year? 2 reasons. First, AI isn't replacing skilled human researchers anytime soon. Today's LLM-based tools just aren't capable of the kind of creative, high-impact work. Second, as automation handles routine testing, the remaining vulnerabilities are tougher to find. That's the good news. If defenders can keep up with patching, especially now that exploit windows can shrink to just 15 minutes after a CVE is disclosed, we could see some positives from AI. In the end, cybersecurity still relies on human curiosity, intuition, and persistence, things AI simply does not have. Next up, Pwn2Own Tokyo 2026, where researchers will target connected cars. If Ireland 2025 showed AI hasn't changed the game yet, Tokyo might, as vehicles become rolling computers linked to sensors, the cloud, and smart cities, and are decades behind in even catching the basic security issues. On Thursday, Microsoft took the unusual step of releasing an out-of-band patch. That's a security update pushed outside of its normal Patch Tuesday cycle to fix a critical vulnerability in the Windows Server Update Service, or WSUS. The flaw, tracked as CVE 2025-59287, carries a CVSS score of 9.8. That's almost as bad as it gets. And worse, now there's a proof of concept exploit code publicly available, and active exploits in the wild are now happening. So what's going on? The bug, discovered by researchers at Code White GmbH, involves unsafe deserialization. That's a long-standing weakness that lets attackers send specially crafted data to trick a program into executing malicious code. In this case, a vulnerable WSUS endpoint processes encrypted authorization cookies using an old binary formatter function, something Microsoft itself has warned developers not to use for years. Once triggered, the exploit gives an attacker remote code execution with system privileges. Essentially, it allows for full takeover of the affected server. The issue affects systems with WSUS server role enabled, and Microsoft says servers without that role are safe. Still, because WSUS is often deployed to manage software updates across large networks, compromised servers could become launchpads for massive attacks. Security firm iSecurity and the Dutch National Cybersecurity Center confirmed exploitation began October 24th, with attackers using a base64 encoded payload to run commands silently through the Windows command shell. Huntress Labs also observed similar activity, noting exposed WSUS ports 8530 and 8531 were main targets. Microsoft reissued the patch after discovering an initial update did not fully mitigate the issue. The fix now covers all supported Windows Server versions from 2012 through 2025. This is the second major critical vulnerability in the past 6 months following the SharePoint issues, where a patch from Microsoft failed to fix things and bad things followed for organizations. If you run WSUS, patch immediately and restart the service. If you can't, disable WSUS role or block inbound traffic to port 8530 or 8531. And don't roll back these mitigations until you've applied the update. If you run WSUS, patch immediately and reboot. If you don't, follow instructions to mitigate it and don't roll back those mitigations until you've applied the update. ESET added CVE 2025-59287 to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog and, interestingly and surprisingly, gave federal agencies until November 14th to patch, which doesn't match how they've handled other similar major vulnerabilities of this kind of severity. This response may be tied to how bad things are right now for the US federal government with the shutdown. The reality is, with active exploitation now observed, if you're running WSUS in the way that is vulnerable, do not wait to patch. Not closing that hole is the equivalent of a cyber kick me sign. Since the US government shutdown on October 1st, cyber attacks targeting federal employees have nearly doubled. With agencies frozen, staff furloughed, and cyber defense capability and capacity reduced, the shutdown has created a perfect storm, and threat actors are taking full advantage. Researchers at the Media Trust project more than 555 million cyber attacks against federal systems by month's end. They say that's an 85% jump over what they saw in September. But these aren't just random phishing blasts. CEO Chris Olsen says many are targeted digital attacks through websites, apps, and online ads, interacting directly with government employees. Experts say the danger goes beyond immediate breaches. Justin Miller, former Secret Service agent now teaching cyber studies at the University of Tulsa, remembers past shutdowns vividly. He recalls receiving letters from mortgage companies explaining furlough status, letters that banks largely ignored. That financial pressure makes government workers prime targets. Threat actors are launching deceptive ad campaigns and phishing lures offering quick cash or loan forgiveness, but leading to credential theft or malware. An infected laptop or phone today could easily become the beachhead when those employees return to work. The Department of Veterans Affairs has been the most targeted agency so far, followed by the Department of Justice. Both are heavily staffed with essential employees, people still working but unpaid and under incredible stress and strain. At the VA, nearly 97% of staff remain on duty unpaid. At Justice, it's 90%. That means these agencies are running critical systems with minimum support, with 2/3 of CISA's workforce sitting at home. It's a dangerous equation: low morale, few defenders, and rising attacks. Experts warn the real damage may unfold slowly. Unpatched systems, stalled modernization projects, and delayed responses create long-term risk for the government. And the shutdown undermines trust and harms employee retention, driving skilled cyber professionals out of the cyber service at a time when they are needed the most. As Ilona Cohen from HackerOne put it, instability pushes talent away. Even when the shutdown ends, rebuilding trust and that workforce could take years. Researchers at ESET have uncovered a new North Korean cyber espionage campaign targeting European defense companies, including several deeply involved in drone manufacturing. The activity, linked to the notorious Lazarus Group, appears designed to steal proprietary UAV technology and manufacturing know-how, likely to advance North Korea's own growing drone program. ESET said that this is part of the ongoing Operation Dream Job campaign, a long-running Lazarus effort that uses fake job offers to compromise victims. The lure usually arrives as a convincing PDF job description paired with a Trojanized reader application that delivers malware once opened. In this latest wave, Lazarus infiltrated open-source projects on GitHub and added the malicious loaders that ultimately install the scoring math T remote access Trojan. Once inside, attackers gain full control of a targeted system, able to manipulate files, collect data, execute new payloads, and quietly exfiltrate sensitive information. ESET reports that 3 European defense companies were hit so far, all located in Central and Southeastern Europe, and at least one manufactures UAVs currently being used in Ukraine. The connection isn't accidental. Analysts believe Lazarus may be trying to reverse engineer Western drone designs seen on the battlefield, helping Pyongyang strengthen its own UAV capabilities. Unlike many Lazarus operations focused on theft or disruption, the campaign fits a classic espionage profile: quiet, targeted, and technically sophisticated. The group continues to evolve using DLL proxying, layered droppers and loaders for stealth, and exploiting legitimate open-source software to disguise attacks. ESET researchers Peter Kenai and Alex Ripon said the evidence strongly suggests Lazarus was after intellectual property, not immediate chaos. A reminder that modern cyber conflict is often fought in the shadows, one stolen design file at a time. With Russia relying on North Korea more and more for workers and munitions, it's not a surprise to see Pyongyang ramp up spying and cyber to gain UAV designs. There's money to be made for the world's most isolated state, and that is a top priority. It also means that stolen drone intellectual property could be used to maim or kill further on the battlefield, upping the stakes even more for European and Western drone firms to protect their digital crown jewels. Those are your updates for Monday, October 27th. The key takeaway this week: cyber is far from a harmless crime. It's a tool now used by nation-states as part of the full spectrum of modern warfare, from economic to kinetic to information warfare. As Cybersecurity Awareness Month wraps up, it's never been more important to encourage everyone to do their part and to teach them how to spot and stop cyber threats. We're always interested in your opinion, and you can contact us at technewsday.com or leave a comment under the YouTube video. Please help us spread the word about the show. Think about leaving a like, subscribing, or leaving a review. And if you enjoy the show, please tell others. We'd love to grow our audience, and we need your help. I've been your host, David Shipley. Jim Love will be back on Wednesday.